Welcome to Season 1 recap of Hilda. Hilda, her mother Johanna, and their dear fox Twig lived in the wilderness ever since she was born. They faced the threat on their house by small, invisible creatures who attacked them as a result of them failing to heed the warnings. Johanna insists they move to Trollberg, but Hilda is determined to fix things so they can stay. She later befriends an elf named Ulfa, who arranges a meeting with the Prime Minister. Despite Hilda's efforts, she learned that only the king can turn things around. Hilda feels saddened at first, but soon feels better when Ulfa decides to take her to the king even if it violates protocols. The next day, Hilda and Ulfa set out to find the elf king. Unfortunately, to Hilda's anger, he retreats in panic when he sees her. Hilda angrily lashes out, causing an avalanche, which is caused by another giant. Hilda catches the royal palace in time and realizes that this giant is who Jorgen is waiting for. The two giants reunite, and just as Hilda and Johanna are free to live in the wilderness once more, Jorgen crushes the house as they walk off to space. Johanna, Hilda, Twig, and Ulfa head off to Trollberg and settle to their new home. As the city prepares for the bird parade, Hilda helps a bird who gets injured during one of the kids' antics by throwing rocks. The bird parade is an annual festival celebrated in the city of Trollberg to honor the great raven. It turns out that the bird that got injured was the raven, whose job is to bring good fortune to Trollberg. As Ulfa and Raven try to find the statue, Trevor, who are one of the kids Hilda tried to befriend, captures him and threatens to throw him to the river. Hilda arrives in time and reminds him he is the great raven, which restores his memories. With everything settled and the parade starting up, Johanna takes Hilda to a special place so that they can watch the parade together. Hilda comes to terms that she'll like it here at Trollberg after all. Following Hilda's initiation to the Sparrow Scots, which includes a game of stingball or dodgeball, the Scots receive their first challenge, a beautification of the Trollberg city park. With her new friends David and Frida, they get to work removing plants and creating sections for plants. However, overnight, plant-like creatures called Vitra ruin their work and calls them out for removing them. The Vitra steals Frida's stash, and Hilda and Frida give chase to underground tunnels where all the Vitra live. Hilda manages to stop the Vitra that stole it and agrees that Frida will be saved if Hilda saves the Vitra's friends. Together, the kids and the Vitra head off to the mulching machine and manages to save the Vitra before they are crushed. Even though they didn't get a badge, they still had fun. Hilda tries to help David capture a baby troll that is running loose in the school during parent-teacher night. Since Hilda's school has a strict no troll rule, a troll breaks into the school and Hilda discovers that this troll is the baby troll's mother. She gives it back to its mother, thus saving the day. As the troll mother makes its way back to the wilderness, it destroys the school statue, much to the sadness of the school principal. David has been having a series of nightmares, and so Hilda and Frida must get to the bottom of all of them. They discover that David is being haunted by a nightmare spirit called Mara, and the only way to defeat it is for one to face their worst fears. Late at night, Hilda, Ulfa and Frida set a trap for the Mara. In this process, Hilda lets the Mara into her head for a moment, wherein Hilda faces her own fears. The Mara leaves David alone after he conquers his fears. While attempting to gather a sample of a rare plant from the Sparrow Scots, Hilda and her friends discover that elves inhabited the area around it, and they kidnap David to punish him for repeatedly walking over them. In order to get him back, Hilda and Frida help Ulfa with a contract from a being called the Lindworm, which must burn the contract in order to save David. Hilda tries her hand at witchcraft to help David with his auditions and Johanna with her art and job. To do this, she creates a magical tide mouse by using a tuft of David's hair. Unfortunately, it goes awry after a couple days when it starts to possess its hosts and cause her mom and David to develop a blank white stare, which she and Ulfa must find a way to undo. Hilda, David, and Frida investigate why Frida's room isn't staying tidy, and soon find out that a spirit had previously organizing her room in her sleep and was now neglecting to do so. The friends head to the graveyard to try to talk to the ghost that had been cleaning up her room, but they find out the reason that the ghost had been returning to Frida's house. An antique book that the ghost had previously owned had disappeared. Frida's sense of identity, which had previously revolved around her supposed organization skills, is challenged, and she lashes out at David and Hilda, straining their friendship. Hilda is stuck at home during a major storm and her mom gets stuck in traffic. To try to get the storm to stop, Hilda, David, and Raven visit the local weather woman and discover that Hilda's favorite weather woman has stolen a weather spirit's baby for the purposes of manipulating the weather. Hilda is luckily able to bring it back to its parents but ends up getting lost in the wilderness soon afterwards on her way back home. While she is in the forest, Hilda meets up with the woodman again and they both hide in a log cabin after almost getting eaten by a giant. They soon discover that this log cabin can grant any wish they want, but they are not able to leave it. Eventually, Hilda wishes to go home and ends up going back at her house through a door in the cabin. Hilda tries to help Tontu, who has been kicked out of his house because the owner of it claims that he has been repeatedly destroying it. Later, Hilda goes on a camping trip with the rest of the Sparrow Scots and finds Tontu in the forest while they are there. However, a monster called the Black Hound is seen in the forest, which causes the trip to be cut short and everyone is forced to go back home. Hilda also finds out that the girls Frida has been spending time with are Maras, and they are trying to get her to become a Mara too. Luckily, David is able to stand up to them just before the Black Hound confronts everyone to their horror. Amidst Hilda and David's reconciliation with Frida, the city becomes worried about the Black Hound, which has been running loose all throughout it. Hilda devotes her time to help Tontu. After she finds out that the Black Hound was actually its pet and was originally named Jellybean. Hilda then finds out that it was actually Jellybean that had been messing up everyone's apartments, and not Tontu. After finding out that Jellybean is innocent, Hilda, her mum, and Tontu try to save him from the rest of the city. While driving out of Trollberg, the Black Hound briefly sends their car into a pocket dimension, but then knocks them out back, destroying Hilda's car. Tontu then reunites with Jellybean and things go back to normal. Thank you for watching. If the video was helpful, then hit the like and subscribe button and also let us know in the comment section.